He didn't say a word, didn't move. Just stood there as the principal screamed and the officer snapped on the cuffs. Blood was still on the floor, but it wasn't his. A teacher had been attacked. And even though the security camera was broken, the witnesses silent, and no weapon was ever found, they already knew who to blame. He was the only black kid in the honors program. Subscribe and tell us where you're watching us from. The police lights hit the windows before the first bell rang. Malik Tennyson, 14, sat at the edge of his desk, eyes fixed on the clock. Honors science class was starting in 3 minutes, and he hadn't missed a second all year. His folder was open. Notes highlighted. A diagram half-finished. That's when the knock came. Malik Tennyson? Said a deep voice from the doorway. Mr. Reeves, the assistant principal, stepped in with 2 uniformed officers behind him. The class fell silent. Come with us. Now. Malik looked around, confused. His teacher, Mrs. Traylor, said nothing. Just stared at her laptop. What's going on? Malik asked. Don't make this harder than it has to be, snapped one of the officers. His hand was already on his belt. Malik stood slowly, his backpack still at his feet. You're not even going to tell me why? You'll find out soon enough, Reeves muttered, not meeting his eyes. They marched him down the hall in silence. As they passed the main office, he heard whispers. The secretary didn't look up. A janitor froze mid-mop. A voice behind a door hissed, that's him. They led him into the nurse's office. Not an interrogation room. Not the principal's office. The nurse was gone. On the cot sat a man in a beige button-down shirt, Mr. Blakely, an English teacher, holding gauze to his nose. Blood soaked the fabric. Malik's stomach turned. Sit him down, Reeves ordered. Malik sat. The taller officer stood behind him. This boy matches the description, Blakely said, muffled through the gauze. Hoodie. Thin build. Right height. Came at me near the back stairwell. I was in class, Malik said immediately. No one saw you there, Reeves countered. Your attendance wasn't marked. Malik blinked. That couldn't be right. I sat down 5 minutes ago. I was The camera by the stairwell's been down for weeks, the officer cut in. And there's blood on your schedule sheet. Malik looked down. A tiny red smear near the fold. That's not. I didn't We'll test it, the officer said flatly. Mr. Blakely narrowed his eyes. He looked at me like he hated me. That's the face I remember. Malik's voice cracked. I don't even go near that stairwell. I don't even talk to you. So you don't deny it? I didn't touch him. Malik shouted, then instantly regretted it. The second officer stepped forward, reaching for his wrist. That's enough. The handcuffs were cold. Malik sat frozen as the click echoed in the small room. He looked at Mr. Reeves. You know I didn't do this. Reeves looked away. Outside the nurse's office, a dozen students had gathered. Phones out. Eyes wide. Malik was led through them like a criminal. Somebody whispered. I knew he'd snap eventually. He didn't snap. But something inside him just broke. The call went out before lunch. By fourth period, Malik's name had been removed from the group project list in history. By sixth, his locker had been emptied, his books stacked in the front office and a brown box marked Hold. No explanation. No apology. Just a quiet erasure. He was still in the holding room. Nobody had called his parents. Why am I still here? He asked the school resource officer, a heavy-set man who hadn't told him his name. District policy, the man grunted. Zero tolerance on staff assaults. We wait for the district rep and your folks. Until then, sit tight. Malik clenched his fists. I didn't hit anybody. That's not what we heard. Malik stared at the wall. The clock ticked too loud. The room smelled like stale coffee and bleach. A thin metal desk separated him from the door. 2 hours passed. Finally, the door opened. A woman stepped in. High heels, tablet in hand, hair in a tight bun. Malik Tennyson? I'm Ms. Rowe, Student Services. You're suspended effective immediately. Indefinite length pending investigation. Malik looked up sharply. But no one even. You'll be escorted off campus. A hearing will be scheduled. You're not to return until further notice. He stood slowly. I didn't do anything. She didn't respond. Just tapped on her tablet. 2 security guards arrived. Not officers. Just men in navy polos with radios clipped to their shoulders. Malik was walked out the side entrance. Not the main hall. Not past his friends. Just the long concrete ramp where the trash bin stood. His mother's car pulled up, a gray Honda Civic with the back bumper slightly dented. She stepped out before the engine stopped. What happened? Her voice was shaking. No one answered her. The guards walked away. Malik? He got in without a word. Inside the car, the silence felt heavier than the school walls. Someone called from the school, but they didn't explain. Just said there was an incident. What's going on? He stared at the glove box. A teacher got hit. They said I did it. His mom's grip tightened on the wheel. You didn't, right? He turned to her. That one question cut deeper than all the others. You think I would? She exhaled sharply. Of course not. You had to ask. They didn't speak again until they got home. That night, Malik scrolled his school's website. There it was under announcements. Due to a safety concern, a student has been temporarily removed following a violent incident involving staff. We are committed to maintaining a safe learning environment for all. No name, no details, but everyone would know. His mom knocked once and entered his room. Her face was pale. Malik, they called again. The district rep said if you want to contest the suspension, there will be a hearing Monday. A hearing? You can speak. Explain. They said it's informal, but they'll decide whether to move forward with expulsion. Malik stared at the ceiling. They had no footage, no witnesses, just a smear on a paper and a broken story. And that was enough. Monday came cold. Malik wore the only blazer he owned, navy, a bit tight at the sleeves. His mother ironed his shirt twice, even though it was already spotless. She didn't speak much that morning, just packed a folder with his grades, awards, and the copy of his honor roll certificate from last semester. Look them in the eye, she said in the car. Speak clearly. Be respectful. He nodded. The hearing was held not at the school, but at the district office, an old beige building with a cracked sign that read Student Review Board. They sat in the waiting room for 40 minutes. The carpet smelled of dust and old coffee. Then his name was called. Malik entered the conference room. 5 adults sat behind a long plastic table. Principal Goddard, Ms. Rowe, a district lawyer, a counselor he'd never seen, and one man in a maroon tie who didn't introduce himself. No one said, hello. You may begin, said the man in the tie. Malik's mom nodded at him gently. He stood. I didn't assault anyone, Malik said. I was in class. I was there early. My teacher saw me. I never left the room. Ms. Rowe adjusted her tablet. Mrs. Traylor declined to submit a statement. Malik blinked. What? She said she wasn't certain when you arrived. So we have no confirmation of your presence during the time of the incident. Principal Goddard cleared his throat. We also have a testimony from Mr. Blakely describing his attacker as matching your height, your clothes, and, quote, a student who had been argumentative in the past. Malik's voice sharpened. I've never argued with him. He reported an incident from October. A disagreement over assigned reading. That wasn't even about me. I just asked why none of the books had black authors. The room fell silent. The man in the tie spoke again. Mr. Tennyson, there's a pattern forming. Several teachers mentioned a tone in your behavior. A certain defensiveness. Malik's chest tightened. So I'm being expelled for my tone? The lawyer cut in. This hearing is not about emotion. It's about community safety. His mother rose. My son has no history of violence. No disciplinary record. He's in honors programs. Perfect attendance. This accusation is baseless. The counselor finally spoke. Ma'am, this isn't about his past. It's about today's standards. We can't risk repeating incidents. Incidents? There is no incident. She snapped. You don't even have a timestamp. The lawyer shifted uncomfortably. We'll deliberate. You'll be notified within 48 hours. They were dismissed. Back in the car, Malik didn't cry. He just stared out the window as the sky turned gray. His phone buzzed once. A classmate's name flashed across the screen, Brandon. He opened the message. Yo, sorry man. But people saying you wild out. Said you punched a teacher. They all believe it. Malik closed his eyes. He had spent 3 years building his name at that school. It had taken just one lie to erase it. 2 days later, the letter came. Expulsion recommended, subject to final board approval. No proof. No appeal. Just the verdict. Malik sat at the kitchen table while his mother paced the living room, rereading the letter for the 5th time. Her jaw was clenched. Her hand shook slightly. They didn't even try to find the truth, she muttered. Just rubber-stamped it. Malik didn't respond. He was staring at the folder she had packed for the hearing. His grades. His certificates. His perfect attendance report. None of it had mattered. We'll fight this, she said, finally. I don't care what they decided. We're not just walking away. But by the next morning, the consequences had already spread. Emails came from colleges he hadn't even applied to yet, withdrawing invitations to early access workshops. His science mentor, Mr. Castor, didn't respond to his messages. And someone, no one knew who, had made a fake Instagram account under Malik's name, posting edited photos with captions like teacher hitter vibes. He reported it. Nothing happened. On Friday, they received a call from the regional school board. The final decision would be made next Thursday. No new hearing. No further evidence. One vote. Behind closed doors. Malik's mother called everyone. Lawyers. Advocates. Journalists. No one answered. Or they said it was too small a case. Or that they couldn't get involved before the final decision. That night, Malik's cousin Tariq stopped by. He was 17, from the west side, a tougher school, rougher neighborhood. He listened quietly as Malik explained what happened. Then he leaned back in his chair and said, "They never wanted you there, man." "What?" "You were the only black kid in honors. They just waited for a reason." Malik looked away. "But I didn't give them one." Tariq shrugged. "Don't matter. You showed up with clean shoes and clean grades. That was enough." The next morning, Malik and his mother drove to the school building one last time. Not to plead, just to retrieve the rest of his things. The receptionist handed them a sealed envelope. "From Principal Goddard," she said. "He's not available to speak." Malik opened it in the car. Inside was a formal record, his transcript, behavioral notes, teacher comments. And a surprise. A printed statement from Mrs. Traylor, the science teacher from the day of the incident. She had submitted it late. He read it twice. Then again. She said she couldn't confirm I was in class, but she mentioned that I turned in my homework 5 minutes after the bell. How could I have done that if I wasn't there? His mother's eyes widened. "That's a timestamp." Malik stared at the line. It was right there. A specific time. A document with proof he was in the room. And yet, they had ignored it. They had read it. Filed it. Buried it. Because it didn't help their story. Malik couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling, headphones in, volume low. An old podcast played, something about space and black holes. But he wasn't listening. He kept replaying the sentence in Mrs. Traylor's note. Malik submitted his worksheet at 8:07 a.m. The attack on Mr. Blakely had been reported at 8:05. 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. Enough to prove Malik wasn't near the stairwell. And yet, the expulsion process was already set. No one had reopened the case. No one had called. No one asked any questions. At 3:12 a.m., Malik opened his laptop. He logged into the school's online portal. His access hadn't been disabled yet. He clicked into the digital bell schedule. Then something strange hit him. On the day of the incident, the school had been on modified schedule due to an early staff meeting. First period started at 8:10, not 8 o'clock. He froze. If the worksheet was turned in at 8:07, then Malik had submitted it before class officially began, which meant he was there before the crime even happened. He stared at the screen. "They got the timeline wrong," he whispered. He ran into his mother's room, laptop in hand. She sat up, startled. "Look," he said breathlessly. "It's the schedule. That worksheet wasn't late. It was early. The attack happened before first bell. That means I couldn't have it." She stared, then grabbed her phone. "This changes everything. If we get this in front of someone." But even as she said it, Malik shook his head. "They don't care. They already decided. They'll just say the times aren't exact." "We'll make them care," she said firmly. "Print everything. Timestamp. Email records. We bring this to the district. In person." They stayed up all night gathering proof. Emails, portal screenshots, paper copies. By dawn, a stack of evidence sat on the table, simple, clear, logical. But they both knew it might not matter. Because it never had. At 9 a.m., they walked into the district office again. Same carpet. Same dull smell. Same silence. The receptionist stared at them blankly. "You don't have an appointment." Malik's mother slid the folder across the desk. "Then send this to whoever voted to expel my son. And make sure they actually read it this time." The woman hesitated, then took it. As they turned to leave, a quiet voice came from down the hall. "Wait." A man in a light gray suit stepped into view. He looked about 40, with tired eyes and a blue ID badge clipped to his belt. "I saw the case file," he said, glancing at Malik. "The timeline never sat right with me. They rushed it. Closed it too fast." He reached for the folder. "Let me look at this." Malik didn't respond. He didn't hope. He just handed it over. 3 days passed. No calls. No emails. No response. The man in the gray suit had taken the folder, nodded politely, and vanished behind a locked door. Since then, silence. Malik didn't wait. He logged back into the school's portal and opened the assignment history tab. It showed every submission, time-stamped, user verified. He clicked download. Then something unexpected happened. A second submission appeared, 1 minute before his, 8:06 a.m., from another student. Same class, same worksheet. He hovered over the name, Isabella Torres. He remembered her. Quiet, always in the second row, rarely spoke, but she had been there that day. He checked again. If she submitted at 8:06 and he at 8:07, they were both in class before the alleged assault. And if she testified, but would she? The last time Malik had seen Isabella was the week before the suspension. She hadn't made eye contact. No one had. Still, he wrote the message. Hi, I know this is weird, but I saw your timestamp. You turned in the worksheet before I did. That might help me. I just want the truth out. That's all. He stared at it for 5 minutes, then hit send. No reply came that night, or the next morning. By Tuesday, Malik was back at the district office. His mother waited in the car while he walked in alone. The receptionist blinked. You're not on the list. Then add me, he said calmly. He didn't raise his voice, didn't plead, just stood there. After 15 minutes, the man in the gray suit appeared again. Malik, right? Malik nodded. The man looked around, lowered his voice. Listen, off the record, something's happening. Your case got pulled for review. Quietly. I think someone upstairs got nervous. Nervous about what? He hesitated. Public record. There's a document from your teacher, that late submission. It should have stopped the vote. But it didn't. That's not just carelessness. That's liability. Malik's expression didn't change. But inside, something shifted. They were afraid. Not of him. Of exposure. The man continued. Don't tell anyone I said this. But keep everything. Every email. Every timestamp. If you have anything unusual, keep it. Malik nodded once. He had more than that. Back home, he reopened the email archive. There, buried deep, was an automated message from the school's internal system. Incident report submitted, 8:34 a.m. The file name was auto-generated. But Malik noticed something strange. The file was edited at 9:02. Someone had changed it. He clicked details. The name attached, Principal Goddard. And now he had it. Malik sat at the kitchen table, the house silent except for the hum of the fridge. His mother had gone to bed early. She was exhausted, not just from the meetings and phone calls, but from the waiting, from watching her son be erased day by day. But Malik wasn't tired. He was building something. The file logs were clear. The school had submitted the official incident report at 8:34 a.m., but it had been edited at 9:02, 30 minutes later. That alone might be explainable. But the author was Principal Goddard, and the version from 8:34 was gone. Replaced. He opened a new document. Titled it Timeline. 8:07, Malik submits worksheet. 8:10, official start of class, modified schedule. 8:34, initial report submitted. 9:02, report edited by Goddard. No footage. Teacher's statement delayed. No witness interviews conducted. Piece by piece, he laid it out. Not for the district. Not for a lawyer. For leverage. At 11:48 p.m., his inbox pinged. A new message. From Isabella Torres. Subject. Science class that day. Message. I didn't say anything because I was scared. I saw you at your desk. You were there. I didn't want to get involved, but it's not right what they're doing to you. I'll say something if you need me to. Malik stared at the screen. He exhaled, then replied. Yes, I need you to write it. Timestamp it. Email it to the district. CC me. Today. The next morning, she did. At 10:14 a.m., the district received a witness statement confirming Malik's presence in class before the attack. The timestamp was exact. He didn't celebrate. Instead, he added it to the folder. After lunch, Malik accessed the school's public records directory. Most people didn't know it existed, a quiet tool for parents to request policy documents. He searched the words incident procedure and found the gold. School Board Policy Number 2412. Any suspension or expulsion must be accompanied by unaltered, timestamped documentation. Failure to follow this process may result in reversal of action and formal review of administrator conduct. He highlighted that, then printed everything. That evening, he walked back into the district office. Alone again. He didn't wait for permission. The gray-suited man from before looked up, startled. What are you doing here? Malik dropped the folder on his desk. You said keep everything. The man opened it. He flipped through. Timeline. Original system logs. Isabella's statement. Policy number 2412. Email from the school system. Evidence of altered reports. His face changed. Malik leaned forward. I know what you're thinking. That if I go public, your office gets dragged with it. The man said nothing. But I'm not here for revenge. I just want my record cleared. A long silence. Then the man nodded. I'll bring this to the board. Quietly. Malik stood. Not quietly. Not anymore. He turned and walked out. By Wednesday, the phone rang. A new voice. Cold. Clipped. This is Diane Marsh from the Office of Administrative Compliance. We've reviewed your materials. Your case has been flagged for secondary review. Malik didn't answer right away. What does that mean? It means the board will meet again, but only to determine if policy was properly followed. It's not a retrial. He clenched the phone tighter. I submitted evidence. A witness. Timeline. Policy violations. You have everything. We'll be in touch. The line went dead. His mother stood in the doorway. That was them? Malik nodded. They're not reopening the case. They're reviewing procedure. She closed her eyes. Cowards. The next morning, an email came. Subject, confidential notice, your behavior file. It was from Principal Goddard's assistant. No message. Just an attachment, a behavior report from the past 3 years. Suddenly, 3 new entries appeared, all dated within the last week. Disrespectful in class discussion. Confrontational tone with staff. Known for challenging authority. Malik's hands trembled. They were building a new story. They're rewriting who I am, he said aloud. He printed the document, then opened the original version he had downloaded a month ago, the one from before the incident. Side by side, clear as day. They were falsifying his history. By noon, he walked back into the district office. The receptionist stiffened when she saw him. She picked up the phone, whispering fast. He didn't care. He walked straight to the office of Diane Marsh. Her door was ajar. She looked up from her desk. You can't be here without. Malik dropped both versions of the file on her desk. Explain this. She looked down. Silence. You altered my record, he said. After the incident. That's retaliation. Her lips parted slightly, then shut. I'll file with the state board. I'll go higher. You think I can't? You think I'm a kid who doesn't know what a data log is? Diane's voice lowered. That's a serious accusation. So is what you did. She leaned back. What do you want? Malik met her eyes. I want a formal statement from the board that my expulsion was invalid. I want full reinstatement. I want my record clean. She exhaled. That's a lot. He leaned closer. Not compared to what I could do. Silence. Then, come back Friday. Malik left without a word. Outside, the wind cut sharp against his jacket. He didn't smile. Didn't relax. He had no proof they would do the right thing, but he had given them a choice. Correct it, or face him in full view. Friday came with no ceremony. At 8:52 a.m., Malik received an email. Subject, disciplinary record update. From Diane Marsh. Message. The board has completed its procedural review. Based on the submitted documentation and timeline inconsistencies, the expulsion recommendation has been revoked. Your record has been restored to pre-incident status. No apology. No acknowledgement of error. Just reversal. Cold and quiet. At 10:05, another email. You are eligible to return to school Monday. A re-entry meeting will be scheduled with administration. Please report to the front office at 7:30 a.m. Malik read it twice, then set the phone down. His mother came in from the kitchen. Well? He held up the screen. She read. Slowly. Her jaw tightened. That's it. He nodded. No sorry. No explanation. Just, you can come back. She laughed, sharp and bitter. We burned nights for this. They smeared you. Lied. And now they pretend it never happened. Malik didn't reply. That evening, he opened his laptop again. Not to check grades. Not to look at schedules. But to write. He drafted a letter. To the Office of Civil Rights. He attached every document, the forged records, altered timelines, false behavioral notes, witness statements, policy numbers, quotes. He didn't send it yet, but he had it, just in case. That night, a message popped up on his phone. Isabella Torres. I saw the reinstatement post on the student forum. Glad you're coming back. Just be careful. Not everyone's happy. He stared at that last part. Not everyone's happy. Monday came fast. He wore the same blazer, same shoes, same look. At 7:30, he stepped into the front office. Principal Goddard was there. So was Diane Marsh. And a third woman he didn't know, likely a legal advisor. "Welcome back, Malik," Goddard said. His voice was too even. Malik sat down. Didn't smile. "Let's be clear," he said quietly. "I didn't come back because I trust you. I came back because I earned it. And because I'm not done." Diane shifted. "Mr. Tennyson, we would appreciate a peaceful transition." "That depends on you," Malik interrupted. "Not me." A pause. Then Goddard slid a new student ID across the desk. "Your access has been restored. Classes resumed today." Malik picked up the ID. For a moment, no one moved. Then he stood. "I'll go now." He walked through the halls. Eyes followed him. Some wide, some narrowed, some filled with questions they'd never dare ask. He passed the science room. Mrs. Traylor looked up. She didn't wave, just nodded once. That was enough. By third period, he was seated again. Same desk, same school, different boy. Weeks passed. Classes moved on. Tests returned. Teachers taught as if nothing had happened. No one mentioned the hearing, the false report, the silence. It was like a fire that left no smoke. But Malik remembered. Every hallway still felt colder than before. Every glance a little sharper. Even now, whispers trailed him. "That's him. The one who hit the teacher, right?" No, they said it wasn't true. But they pulled him out for a reason, didn't they? Malik didn't answer those stares. He had no time for ghosts. Instead, he wrote. After classes, he stayed late in the library. Not just to study, but to build something. A report. 16 pages. Titled, "A Misuse of Authority Timeline of a False Accusation." It wasn't emotional. No speeches. No angry monologues. Just facts. Timestamps. Policy numbers. Screenshots. Names. He didn't send it to the press. He didn't start a petition. He just uploaded it to the student server under the Resources section, right next to college applications and study skills. He signed it with one line. Prepared and submitted by Malik Tennyson, grade 9. By the next morning, the document had 78 downloads. By the end of the week, 200. No one said anything aloud. But he started noticing folders in lockers. Printed copies. Notes being passed. Quiet questions in the back of classrooms. Can they really change your file like that? What happens if you record your meeting? Do we have a right to see our own records? Change didn't roar. It rustled. One day, he found a post-it stuck to his locker. "Thanks for posting that. It's helping my brother." No name. Another. "I showed your report to my cousin's counselor. They backed off." And one more. "I believe you. Always did." The final line of his report read, "This isn't about one student. It's about the silence they count on." Malik didn't wait for credit. He didn't wait for apologies. He just kept going. Because in the end, his greatest weapon wasn't proof. It was clarity. That they tried to rewrite his story. And he wrote it back.